Hello everyone, welcome. This is my very first video in English in this channel in which I have chosen to talk about the topic of ghosts. I love the spirit world and today I would like to tell you about my fear of ghosts, my experience with ghosts. Why is that? Because I have chosen this topic as the very first topic because in a way, I feel this has been the trigger of, or it has triggered my spiritual awakening, or rather, my spiritual path, right? My spiritual path, my spiritual journey started when I was very young. Um, I always knew that I had some capacities, but I was so scared of them that I wouldn't go deep into them. Let's say I wouldn't explore them. Today I'm going to talk to you about the very first experience that I remember. I'm sure that I had many more before, but this is the very first one I had. I was about 7 or 8 years old, which led me to develop a deep fear of the invisible. So, what happened was this. There was this evening, I was in the kitchen with my family. We were watching TV, but it was already late and I wanted to go to bed. So I decided to go to bed. And to reach my bedroom, I had to go through a corridor. And this corridor was in the dark. There was no light that I could turn on so that I could see where I was going. I just was walking in the dark. And as soon as I started walking in the dark, all of these kind of ghosts started coming to me. It was like Scream, was like that movie, or like Harry Potter, the dimensions in Harry Potter that came to you. And I was so scared. I was scared stiff, actually. I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. And I looked at them and I remember the feeling, the fear here. I turned around and went back to the kitchen. I sat on my mom's lap or my dad's lap and didn't move again. From then on, it was terrible. Actually, I didn't want to go anywhere on my own, and I would wait for my sister to accompany me everywhere, to the bathroom, to anywhere that there was dark. I would wait for my sister to accompany me. And she is 2.5 years younger than me. She didn't understand anything at the time. She didn't understand why I had to wait for her, and she was really annoyed at times. But well, I couldn't do anything. I also worried. I remember I worried when we went on holidays and we had to go to summer houses, or we rented different apartments or houses to go on holiday, and I always worried about what am I going to find there. I was not that conscious, of course, in the sense that I was not expecting to see anything. What I really didn't want to do is perceive anything. I was sure that I had to shut down. In a way, this is what I remember doing. I remember my body going into this contraction, right? Because I love magic, I love the invisible, I love miracles. But at that time, I only wanted the positive things, the so-called positive things, or the things that I saw as positive. And for me, these ghosts were ugly, were bad, were mean, were dangerous. And so as I had that idea about them, of course, that's how I went about in life, right? Avoiding them. I would try to avoid them at all costs, everywhere. And so, yeah, actually, the perception I have of my body is going into this great contraction. Now, some years later, after that, or some years after that, what happened was that I started having these dreams, premonitions. Um, I would dream with babies being born into the family. These things would actually happen. And I was really happy. I was overjoyed with all of these things happening because I was connecting with the magic of the universe, but in a positive way, because this was about babies being born into the world, or with lovely things happening in people's lives. But I didn't want to see the other. I didn't want to see death. I didn't want to see. And so it was because of all the things that I didn't want to see, that I went through life like this, seeing and not seeing, in the sense that I was not being conscious. I was being aware that there was something there, but I didn't want half of it, let's say, if we can establish a quantity, right? Now, consciousness does not work like that. Consciousness includes everything. The universe has no point of view about positive and negative. It was my point of view. And because I didn't want these perceptions or these negative things that I thought were negative, that I believed were negative, and which are in general classified as negative, I separated from myself. I separated from my capacities. I separated from this great ability that is perceiving the invisible, perceiving the spiritual, knowing that they are there. Not only they are there because they have died and they don't have a body. It's not the only type of energies that we can perceive. We can perceive spirits, we can perceive other beings that have higher consciousness and that want to contribute to us, that want to work with us together, right? Because we have a physical body, they have a subtle body. So we can communicate and we can create together, right? Now, why do these beings come near us, right, Christy? These ghosts that seem so ugly sometimes. First of all, because we can perceive them. So we can perceive them and they are looking to probably communicate, or they might need something. Who are they going to talk to if they don't talk to somebody who can perceive them, who can talk to them? So this is the very first reason why they come to us. The second reason is because probably they have something they need, right? Or they have something they want to give us. And if we shut down to a part of the spirit world, we are cutting, we are we are reducing, or we are separating from our awareness and our consciousness. Now, what happened to me personally? How did I go from that moment in my life to where I am now? Well, there were different steps, but the second time in my life where I saw again these ugly ghosts was when I was about 36, 37 years old, when I reconnected with my abilities, or I was searching for answers. I was looking for all the answers that I didn't have before. And so the first tool, the first technique that I went, or that I started, or that I appeared into my life, bringing some of these answers I was looking for, was Reiki. Reiki is Japanese technique in which you use your hands, and with your hands you can harmonize the energy of the chakras and unblock energies. So I started my journey with Reiki, and the very first day that I did my first initiation ritual, that night I went to bed, that evening I went to bed, I closed my eyes, and I saw again these ugly, um, mean, dangerous creatures coming to me. Of course, at the time, I was still afraid of them, but I had this, what's the word? I had decided, or I chose to continue with my path, my journey, and change things. It took me a while, and then I came across different tools that helped me, and my life has changed tremendously from that moment to this moment. Um, there are still moments where I perceive this fear. Many times, the fear that we perceive is not even ours, it's their fear. It might be their fear, even. Anyways, the journey of consciousness never finishes. So there's always more and more and more that we can develop, and more that we can access, right? So what is the importance of all of this in my life? I believe that my relationship with ghosts was the trigger of my spiritual journey. And fear, now I see my fear in a different light. Many years ago, I would or some years ago, I would judge myself and I would judge my fear. Why? Because what it did was to separate myself from consciousness. But right now, I see my life in a different light. I see my life as different choices. I made different choices, and these choices brought me to where I am today. So, my suggestion for you is, if you have fear of ghosts, if you have fear of the dark, first thing that is a good idea to do is recognize it. Recognize that you have this fear. And probably you have this fear because you have a capacity. Now recognize that you have a capacity to perceive ghosts, to communicate with them, not only ghosts, with the spirit world, and embrace it. Embrace it, because it is a great gift. It's not, there are some energies that are not so nice, quote unquote, but in general, the spirit world is here to support us. We work collaboratively to create more consciousness, to create a greater life for us, for the planet, and for other people who are willing to have or to access more consciousness. So, I hope my words have been of some help. In other videos, I will be talking about how I perceive them, because I perceive the spirit world in different ways. And yeah, and see you next time.